Hello, welcome to Bruce's Art Studio. Today we're going to be painting a underwater scene. The object I have painted here is a fish, but you could be painting a turtle, you could be painting just about any subject you want underwater. What we're going to do today is pay attention to the actual ground and the water you see underneath the ocean, or in this case it's going to be a stream. Now what I've done, I've created a background of black by taking acrylic and allowing it to dry. Then I painted my fish on it. Now you could paint, like I say, any subject you want. We'll start with the little fish. What I've done, I'm using phthalo green, and I'm using a gray, sort of like a value 3, which is very dark, and I'm adding it to the phthalo green. And the next color up in here, we're going to be using a turquoise with about a value of 5, sort of half white, half black, added to the turquoise. All right, let's get a smaller brush here. So this is a phthalo green with a value of 3 gray to it. Excuse me. In this area here, I'm going to add a little bit of black to that color. So I'm going to make this much darker than this, even though they're both dark, and that's intentional, which you'll see as we go along. And smooth that out. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to put on a turquoise. Color above this and blend it in. But first, I'll just fix this little mouth area. I want to open it up a little bit. There we go. So next we're going to go up here and we're going to put a turquoise with a value of 5 for a mixture. Then we're going to blend these two in. in this area here, we're going to clean our brush a bit, and we're going to put more white with the turquoise, like so. Now we're going to blend this all in. So find yourself a nice soft brush, and we'll do a little bit of blending. Now you notice I'm not going the normal way like so. I'm going little X's. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to start creating the area here, which is the ground area. So to start off with, I'm going to take a little brush, a little flat brush, and I'm going to put some phthalo green and black on one side of my brush, and then some of that lighter sky color, and I'm going to create little rocks. And they're fairly dark back here. So that's a phthalo green with a touch of that sky color. Now, when I'm placing the brush on the floor here, I'm putting the white part first, or the sky color first. Now I'm going to lighten them up a little bit. As I get closer, I'm going to space them out a little bit. So that's just a little bit of rock formation that is still fairly dark. Next, what we're going to do, in this area here, we're going to add a little bit of yellow to it. That's yellow ochre. So we're going to put in a couple little designs for fish. Their little plant life. It's a little different than your ordinary plant life that you see, but basically you have stuff, let's call it like a rockweed, for example. Now rockweed is along a brownish, reddish color. So I'll take a little bit of Indian red, and it'll look like sort of little knobs, and then it goes down, little knobs. maybe another one over here somewhere. So little knobs down, little knobs. Then we'll switch over to a lighter color. In the background, I want a color which is fairly light. So we'll put a couple colors here, very faded. And they also have sort of like a long grass. You see that quite often too. Let's just take a little bit of red and see what we can do with that. In this area here, I'm going to put a few plants, but then what I'm also going to do is add some rocks to the front. And you can put some blue ones too, like color of your actual water that you have. In fact, certain ones, let's say this big one here, you can put blue on it, sort of like highlights. Now in this area here in the front, I'm going to build some rocks. I'm going to take a nice flat brush and I'm going to go back to a darker color. I'm going to use a brown and I'm going to use a touch of black and I'm going to touch of the color that we're using for the background of green. Just going to put all this dark color in first. Then what we're going to do, we're going to scrumble. Now scrumbling is basically taking a knife or a bristle brush and very lightly forming texture. And the colors that I'm using are the colors of the sky and the ground that we have. There we go. And when we're finished, if we want, we can then blend and tap over this that we're putting in here now. This is giving you the texture that you want. But if you want, you can also go and take a brush, and you can make everything nice and smooth. So let's try that. Let's take a nice soft brush. Nice, really soft. Let's see what I can find here. And let's just tap some of these colors in. Now these are making nice soft rocks. Leave some of your texture in. In that area there, I think I'm going to put a little bit of ground, a little bit of color. There we go. Now what you want to do, you want to work on the sky. So what we're going to do with the sky, I'm going to take that turquoise again, and I'm going to add some white to it. I'm going to make it fairly light. And I'm going to take a brush that's nice and soft. And I'm going to put some beams of light. Now all I'm doing is touching the paint. And then we're going to blend all this in. These are light rays coming down. Now we're going to take a very soft brush and very gently we're going to blend. Even softer than that. Maybe I'll take a nice little fan brush. That's always nice and soft. Now I hardly want to see the light coming through. And then this area here where the light is, add more white and blue. This is the surface of your water trying to come through. Just back and forth, little X's. Now, if you want to make it look like it's perhaps a stream, just take a little bit of your color that you're using for the sky. And what you can do, you can make the flow sort of like what do you call it? I guess the motion of the water. You can go and go across again. So this is sort of the motion of the water that you see in the stream. Now you're picking up different colors in your background, which is just what you want. So now you know this fish is underwater. There's another thing you can do, and that is you can, in actual fact, put beams that come right onto the fish. I'm not going to do that today. I allow everything to dry before I do that. What I am going to do, I'm going to touch up that little fish that we touched a bit when we did the background. So I'm just going to take a dark color. I think I'll take a dark green and maybe a little bit of yellow to it. And we'll create a little bit of a color to the fish here. Let's see. And what's a little lighter than that. If I can find it. There we go. So what I'm doing, I'm mixing a green and a yellow together to get that fish texture color that I was looking for. There we go. And like so. And then we'll put a little bit of yellow, more yellow than green on it. And go back the other way. There. Looks good. So there's your painting of an underwater scene. I kept it with very few colors. I used a phthalo green and a turquoise, and then I mixed black and white with that basically. Then for your designs that you have underneath here, the rocks are the color of the ground and the sky. And all I did is add a little bit of Indian red and some yellow ochre to make designs for grasses, etc. coming up. Now you can really play with the structure of the stones. You can have lots of little stones. You can put lots of highlights in here if you wanted to, like so. Just find the side that's facing the lightest area of your painting and just put in some highlights. Now the highlights that I'm using are the sky colors again. So there's your little painting. Get rid of my little cloth that I was using. And it's a very quick painting, especially if you do your subject first. Now, if you want to further this painting, you can allow it to dry. We're working with oil, so you have to allow it to dry. And then you can take the colors, whatever you use in the background here for your little light coming down. Let's say you would put more yellow than blue. In my case, I put more green than blue. You can bring it down and then follow the shape of the fish. That'll bring your fish right out too. But for the purpose of this painting, I want to really get into the water effect, the darkness, how it goes off into the distance and then it goes back up and then hits all the light area in here. Then bring all that light area down onto your stones and your rocks. So that's it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this little painting of a fish underwater. Until next time, happy painting.